To begin, welcome to our guide on the 90-day immigration trap for K-1 visa entrants. In this video, we will clarify the difference between the marriage deadline and the period of authorized stay, explain what happens if you file the adjustment of status after day 90, and discuss risks, myths, and best practices. We will also cover practical steps to file your AOS package wisely. Now, let's outline what we'll cover. First, we will review K-1 basics. Next, we will compare the 90-day marriage requirement with the authorized stay period. Then, we will address late filing and the overstay question. After that, we will demystify the fear of arrest at interviews. Furthermore, we will lay out a best practice filing timeline, take a couple of quizzes, compare myths and facts, and conclude with key takeaways and a summary. Before we dive deeper, please note this is not legal advice. Immigration policies change, and individual facts matter. Therefore, consult a licensed immigration attorney or accredited representative for advice tailored to your situation. With that clarified, let's move into the core K-1 concepts. Now let's establish the foundation. The K-1 visa allows entry to the United States to marry the U.S. citizen petitioner within 90 days. After marriage, the next step is to file adjustment of status using Form I-485 to become a permanent resident. Although the concept seems straightforward, timing is critical because the initial authorized stay associated with K-1 admission is limited. This distinction between the marriage requirement and maintaining authorized presence is where many applicants stumble. Next, we'll detail that distinction. Here is the core trap. The K-1 requires marriage within 90 days of entry. At the same time, the authorized stay tied to K-1 admission also ends at day 90. If you marry on day 89, but wait to file AOS until day 100, you have a lapse in authorized stay. That said, spouses of U.S. citizens are considered immediate relatives under immigration law, and typical bars based on unlawful presence are often not applied in the adjustment context for immediate relatives. Even so, operating without status involves risk, increases complexity, and requires careful explanation in your application. Next, let's turn this into a step-by-step timeline you can follow. To operationalize this, first, marry as early as practical within the 90-day window. Next, prepare your adjustment of status package concurrently with wedding planning so it is ready to file promptly after the ceremony. Ideally, file the I-485 before or right around day 90 to avoid a status gap. If you are already past day 90, then file immediately and include a concise, truthful explanation for the delay. After filing, retain your receipt notices, attend biometrics, and respond quickly to any requests for evidence. Finally, prepare for the interview with strong, bona fide marriage evidence. With the timeline in mind, let's test your understanding with a quick quiz. Here is your first question. If you married on day 89 but filed adjustment of status on day 100, what best describes your situation? Option A. You met the K-1 requirement, but you had a gap in authorized stay. Option B. You are permanently barred from adjustment. Option C. You must leave the U.S. immediately. Option D. Your case will be automatically denied. You may pause the video now to think about the answer. We will discuss the answer in the next section of the video. The correct answer is A. You satisfied the K-1 marriage requirement, but filing after day 90 created a gap in authorized stay. As an immediate relative, you typically remain eligible to adjust status, but you should include a clear explanation of the delay and understand the additional risks. Next, let's clarify terminology. Some applicants are advised to mark yes to overstaying because their I-94 authorized stay has expired. This admission reflects that the authorized stay lapsed, even if the marriage occurred in time. However, in the immediate relative context, unlawful presence penalties, such as the 3 or 10-year bars, typically do not block adjustment. Still, being without status is risky and can complicate adjudication. Therefore, you should be precise, honest, and prepared to explain who advised you, why they advised it, and what you did next. In contrast to popular myths, filing AOS after day 90 does not guarantee denial because immediate relatives often remain eligible to adjust status. Similarly, routine K-1 interviews with only minor filing delays rarely result in detention. Enforcement typically focuses on criminal conduct, fraud, or prior removal orders. However, While certain penalties may not apply, gaps in status increase complexity and scrutiny. Consequently, the best strategy is to file as soon as possible and provide clear explanations. Meanwhile, let's address interview fears. Enforcement resources are prioritized towards serious criminal histories, fraud, national security risks, or those with outstanding removal orders. A brief delay in filing after marriage, by itself, rarely triggers detention. However, you should attend interviews thoroughly prepared. Bring abundant bona fide marriage evidence. Maintain a clear and consistent timeline. And be honest about any prior advice you received, including who gave it and why. Now let's reinforce this with a second quick quiz. Here is your second question. Which situation is most likely to draw enforcement attention at an interview? Option A, a 2-week delay in filing after marriage with a clean record. Option B, extensive bona fide evidence and timely responses to requests for evidence. Option C, a prior removal order or documented fraud concerns. Option D, filing the I-485 the day after the wedding. You may pause the video now to consider your answer. We will go over the correct answer in the next section. The correct answer is C. Enforcement attention is most likely in cases involving serious concerns such as fraud or a prior removal order. Minor filing delays alone, especially with a clean record and strong evidence, are unlikely to trigger detention. Additionally, here is a concise Markdown preparation kit you can adapt. It includes a quick AOS checklist marriage certificate, completed I-485 with the correct fee determined by the USCIS fee calculator, Form I-864 with supporting evidence, medical form I-693 if available, optional I-765 and I-131 if eligible, passport and I-94 copies, and bona fide marriage proof such as joint leases, finances, photos, and affidavits. It also includes a sample outline for explaining a filing delay, describe what happened with dates, why it occurred, what actions you took next including prompt filing, and an assurance of your ongoing compliance. Next, let's visualize the overall journey on a timeline. This timeline diagram depicts the pathway from K-1 entry through marriage within 90 days, followed by filing the I-485, ideally before or by day 90. If filing occurs after day 90, the timeline should visibly mark a status gap to emphasize increased risk and the need for explanation. Subsequently, it shows receipt notices, biometrics, potential issuance of employment authorization and advance parole, the interview, and the final decision. Importantly, the diagram should annotate that immediate relative eligibility can mitigate typical unlawful presence penalties in this context, while still advising the viewer to avoid any gap when possible. Now let's contrast requirements and purposes of common forms you'll encounter. Here is a quick table of core forms. Form I-485, adjusts status to permanent resident, and should be filed as soon as possible after marriage to avoid gaps. Form I-864 is the affidavit of support, proving the petitioner's financial ability. Form I-693 is the medical exam, which can be submitted with the AOS or brought sealed to the interview. Form I-765 provides employment authorization, and Form I-131 provides advance parole for travel. Both are optional based on needs and eligibility. Form G-1145 enables e-notifications. Finally, always use the USCIS fee calculator to verify the current fees before filing. Next, let's summarize the key points you should remember. To recap, marry within 90 days and file the AOS promptly. Filing after day 90 creates a gap in authorized stay, though immediate relatives can often still adjust. Any late filing should include a concise and truthful explanation. Interview arrest risk is typically very low in simple late filing scenarios without other red flags. Overall, prepare early, maintain strong documentation, and file as soon as possible. This sequence diagram clarifies roles. The K-1 applicant marries within 90 days and files the I-485 with supporting forms. If filed after day 90, there is a status gap to disclose and explain. USCIS issues receipt notices, schedules, biometrics, and may process employment authorization and advance parole while the I-485 remains pending. The interview follows. If the record is clean and the marriage is bona fide, the case typically proceeds normally. Conversely, fraud indicators or prior removal orders can lead to enforcement referrals. Finally, let's summarize and wrap up. In summary, distinguish the 90-day marriage rule from the authorized stay limit. File your adjustment of status promptly, ideally before or right at day 90. If you are late, still file and include a clear, honest explanation. Arrest fears for a simple filing delay are largely misplaced. Instead, focus on complete preparation and strong, bona fide evidence. For personalized guidance, consult a qualified immigration professional. Finally, thank you for watching. If this video helped you, please like, share, and subscribe for more immigration guides. Leave your questions and timelines in the comments so we can help you plan your next steps.